Hello, my dear students. Welcome back to this class. I hope all of you are in good health. This year, you have enjoyed the longest vacation, but still, you could not visit your favorite vacation spots because of this corona pandemic. By the way, what is your favorite vacation spot? Do write to me and let me know. Today, in this class, we're going to learn a beautiful poem titled Vocation. Do you know the difference between vacation and vocation? It's time for all of us to know that. Let's get started. This is vacation. This is how we spell it. Vacation. And this is vocation. How do you spell it? Vocation. That is vocation. What do you mean by vacation? Vacation means a period of suspension of work, study, or other activity, usually used for rest, recreation, or travel, recess, or holiday. Vocation means a particular occupation, business, or profession, calling, especially one for which a person is particularly suited or qualified. What is your father's vocation? I am a teacher. That is my vocation. Teaching is my vocation. Okay? So let us know something about Rabindranath Tagore, who had written this wonderful poem which we are about to learn. Rabindranath Tagore was born on 7th May in 1861 and he died on 7th August in 1941. He was born in West Bengal and he was a poet, writer, composer, philosopher and painter. He was often referred to as the Bard of Bengal since he was born there. Gitanjali is Tagore's best-known collection of poetry, for which he was awarded the Nobel Prize in Literature in 1913. He was also known as Gurudev. And I do think that you know that he is the person who wrote our national anthem, Jana Gana Mana. So having known a little about Rabindranath Tagore, we can proceed to the poem, Vocation. This is the first stanza. Let me read it once. When the gong sounds 10 in the morning and I walk to school by our lane, every day I meet the hawker crying, bangles, crystal bangles. There is nothing to hurry him on. There is no road he must take, no place he must go to, no time he must come home. I wish I were a hawker spending my day in the road, crying, bangles, crystal bangles. So let's try to understand. And when the gong sounds 10 in the morning and I walk to school by our lane. So the narrator is a small boy here and he's going to school. So when the gong sounds 10 in the morning, what do you mean by gong? It is a metal disc that makes a deep ringing sound when struck. When you strike gong with something, it makes deep ringing sound. So when the gong sounds 10 in the morning and I walk to school by our lane, what do you mean by lane? Lane means a narrow road. So this small boy goes to school and he meets the hawker crying bangles, crystal bangles. Every day I meet the hawker crying bangles, crystal bangles. As he goes to school in the narrow road, he meets the hawker crying bangles, crystal bangles. There is a bangle seller and he cries, he shouts, bangles, crystal bangles. There is nothing to hurry him on. There is no road he must take, no place he must go to, no time he must come home. There is nothing to hurry him on. But this boy has to go to school in time. So that's why saying like this. There is nothing to hurry him on. This bangle seller has nothing to hurry him on. And there is no road he must take. There is no place he must go to. He can go to any place that he likes to sell his bangles. He can take any road that he likes to take to sell his bangles. And he has no time when he must come home. But for this boy, he has a particular time to come to home. He has a particular time to go to school. Right? I wish I were a hawker spending my day in the road crying bangles, crystal bangles. The boy wishes that he were a hawker spending his day in the road crying bangles, crystal bangles. It seems that the boy envies the hawker. Let's move on to the second stanza. When at 4 in the afternoon I come back from the school. I can see through the gate of that house the gardener digging the ground. He does what he likes with his spade. He soils his clothes with dust. Nobody takes him to task if he gets baked in the sun or gets wet. I wish I were a gardener digging away at the garden with nobody to stop me from digging. So when it is 4 in the afternoon, he comes back from the school. As he comes back from the school, as he was walking on the road, he sees through the gate of a house where the gardener was digging the ground. The gardener was digging the ground. What do you mean by digging? Just making a hole. So he was making a hole in the ground. He does what he likes with his spade. You see, this is called a spade. This tool is called a spade. So he does what he likes with his spade. He digs the ground, and he does whatever he likes with his spade, and he soils his clothes with dust. As he is working in the garden, he gets his clothes dirt. Nobody takes him to task if he gets baked in the sun or gets wet. Nobody gives him any punishment or anything like that, even if he gets baked in the sun or even if he gets wet, even if he gets drenched in the rain or if he gets baked in the sun. No one gives him any kind of task. I wish I were a gardener digging away at the garden with nobody to stop me from digging. So, seeing the gardener, this small boy wishes that he were a gardener digging away at the garden with nobody to stop me from digging. No one would stop him from digging. So, that's why he wishes that he were a gardener. Let's move on to the third stanza. Just as it gets dark in the evening and my mother sends me to bed, I can see through my open window the watchman walking up and down. The lane is dark and lonely, and the street lamp stands like a giant with one red eye in its head. The watchman swings his lantern and walks with his shadow at his side, and never once goes to bed in his life. I wish I were a watchman walking the street all night, chasing the shadows with my lantern. So, as it gets dark in the evening, his mother sends him to bed. As his mother sends him to bed, he lies on the bed and he sees through his open window a watchman. The watchman was walking up and down the street. The lane is dark and lonely. As it is night, it is very dark. The lane is very dark and it is lonely. There is nobody on the lane. And the street lamp stands like a giant with one red eye in its head. There was only one street lamp, and it stands like a big thing, giant with one red eye in its head. The watchman swings his lantern and walks with his shadow at his side and never once goes to bed in his life. What does a watchman do? The watchman is swinging his lantern and walks with his shadow at his side and never once goes to bed in his life. A watchman is not supposed to sleep at night. That's why he never goes to bed in his life at night. Right? I wish I were a watchman walking the street all the night, chasing the shadows with my lantern. The boy wishes that he were a watchman walking the street all night, chasing the shadows with his lantern. From this poem, we can understand that the child envies the hawker, the gardener, and the watchman. We can guess that there are many things that the child has to do or he must not do. There are so many things, there are so many restrictions for the child. At what time he has to go to school, he has to go. He has to take a particular road to go to school. He has to come back from school at a particular time. If he gets late, then obviously he will not be excused. So there are certain things that the child must do, and there are certain things that the child must not do. That's what he tells. Let's look at the summary of this poem. The poem describes a child's longing, a strong wish for the immense freedom he sees in the lives of those around him. So, in this whole poem, he wishes that he has the freedom, and he sees different people, and he envies the hawker, the gardener, and the watchman because of the freedom that they enjoy. When the gong sounds 10 in the morning, he walks to school and he sees a great hawker crying bangles, crystal bangles, and he wishes he could be a hawker. And in the afternoon, when he comes back from the school, he sees a skillful gardener digging the ground, and he wishes he were a gardener. When dusk falls, when dusk falls, his mother sends him to bed, and he sees an ever alert watchman through the window, and he wishes he could be the watchman. That's it. I hope you have learnt this poem, and we will discuss this poem further in our meet session. Till then, take care.